comet coming at us. It's called water shortage.
Climate change is a real problem. Humans are changing the climate. We already see evidence about it. One of the most significant impacts of climate change will be on our water resources.
We're going to see a lot of people are going to die because of the floods and droughts and various social upheavals that are caused by global warming. What's also tragic is that there's a lot of awareness of that now, but so much of that awareness is then being used by corporate interests. Oh, we're running out of water and we need to invest so much money in water and it's so terrible how water is managed, and then somehow they make the flip to, oh, we must privatize it so then we'll use it more efficiently and everybody will be better off. Which is total nonsense, total utter nonsense. I mean, it's mainly these people have an interest clearly in making money out of selling water to people.
There are private corporate interests that have decided that water is going to be put on the open market for sale. It's going to be commodified and treated as any other saleable good.
Water is now a $400 billion global industry, the third largest behind electricity and oil.
I bought the green, I have the blue, and I have about half of the yellow.
The market is amoral, and it's going to lead you to taking advantage of pollution and scarcity, frankly. It's going to lead you to selling to those who can buy it and not to those who need it.
The water sector is going to grow at 2 to 3 times the global economy over the next 20 years. By buying the companies that source, treat, distribute, and monitor our water supply, you're likely to have a pretty strong investment over the next decade or so.
People say that, well, water's a lot like air. Do you charge for air? Of course not. You shouldn't charge for water. Well, okay, watch what happens.
Bottled water is used by millions of people around the world because they think it's safer than tap water. There is less than one person, according to the Food and Drug Administration, regulating the entire multi-billion-dollar bottled water industry in the United States. That means that that poor person does multiple things and one of them is water. The Food and Drug Administration, if you ask them what's in any brand of bottled water, they'll say, we have no idea.
So stupid. Why would people pay such a premium for bottled water? To find out, we took over a very trendy California restaurant. We printed our own elegant water menus with phony imported waters, costing as much as $7 per bottle. Our water steward gives our first lucky couple our special water list.
I guess we'll get Le Doux Robinet.
The Le Doux Robinet?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
It's French for tap water.
Okay.
Yeah, it has a flavor to it.
How would you compare it to tap water?
Oh, yeah, definitely better than tap water.
What was the actual source of these chic waters? A garden hose on the restaurant patio.
3 out of 4 Americans drink bottled water, and 1 in 5 will only drink bottled water.
And water is something we already pay for.
Leading brands are basically tap water, often sold for more than the cost of gasoline.
So today we're here at Tufts University organizing our 42nd Tap Water Challenge.
I thought for sure that the Dasani water was tap water.
They're spending tens of millions of dollars every year to convince us that bottled water is better than tap water, when in fact it's much less regulated.
We tested over 1,000 bottles of water, over 100 brands that are sold in the United States, and we found that it is not necessarily any safer or better or purer than your city tap water. We found some of them had arsenic in them at high levels, some of them had organic chemicals in them, a variety of bacteria. So there were problems with about a third of the brands that we sampled. Some of the water we saw that had pictures of mountains on it, it was city tap water. Glacier water came from groundwater in Florida. Some of them said that they were pure mountain. I mean, the list is very long. We found a case in Massachusetts where a guy had sunk a well in an industrial parking lot that was near a Superfund site. He was pumping water out of this well and selling it under multiple different brands. So people buying this stuff had no idea where it was coming from.
the dream of pure water for all is within reach for the humankind.
The World Water Council was created at a meeting of big, powerful water interests in 1997. They came together to promote corporate takeover of water. They will not tell you that. They'll say they came together to bring water to the world's people. But if you look at who is at that founding meeting, it's all the big water corporations, it's the World Bank, it's a lot of the international development agencies. And so they came together to promote a vision of a water future that's based on water as a market good.
Most Americans have no idea what the World Bank actually is. Do you agree with that?
Unfortunately, I do. And it's sad because we deal with the question of governance, the question of corruption, questions of environment, questions of health, questions of education, and ultimately those things are at the core of peace.
How can you keep loaning poor countries money to meet their basic needs? It is completely predictable that what happens is poor countries end up with debts they can't afford, and that debt becomes the noose around their neck with which the World Bank and the IMF become the government.
There is a political set of questions to be asked around this. Who owns water? Who gets to make the decisions about water? Why is this group, the World Water Council and the World Bank and these big water corporations, why have they got to set themselves up as a global high command of water and make decisions for the rest of us? Who exactly elected them?
Quand le président du Conseil mondial de l'eau, qui organise tous les grands forums à la gloire des multinationales, n'est autre que le président d'une société à Marseille qui appartient à 50% à Vivendi, 50% à Suez. Et quand vous savez que Michel Camdessus, qui est l'ancien président du FMI, et qui a comme ses deux conseillers principaux les deux numéros 2 de Suez et de Veolia, on a compris, tout est contrôlé, vicié. Simplement, les gens ne le savent pas.
And this is a club that decided, I think before the rest of us understood, that water is the most precious commodity for them in the world. It's blue gold. They're going to make tons of money, and more importantly than money, because you really need to compare fresh water with oil. It's about power. It's about which sectors of society, which countries, which governments, which corporations are going to control the blue gold of the future.
Water is for survival, and who owns the water for survival owns you. And that's the picture that people have to understand.
Have you ever seen any of your victims?
Victims? Be melodramatic. Look down there.